Repetition is not boring, it's just who you became. You ever think about this, like how someone spends their entire life doing just one thing, like they are just dedicate themselves for usually just one thing in their life, like it's preference, a taste, something aesthetic. So but what it is not, in the Republic, Plato describes people watching shadows on a wall, believing that it is reality. What if what we call taste is just another shadow? And Schopenhauer always says that you don't choose your desire, they move through you. Again, Sigmund Freud believed that repetition is not random, it's just something unsolved, unresolved coming back again. Even in Hindu thought, the idea of samsara, the cycle of repetition itself, suggests we live the same patterns until we became aware of them. So the character of this video is Yayoi Kusama. Didn't choose hers. She was born in Japan, strict family, controlling mother, a childhood that didn't feel safe. Her father had affairs. Her mother would send her to follow him. Imagine like that. It's very hard. And then around the age of 12, she starts seeing things like the dots, endless dots, flowers, nets, It was her hallucination, like the real hallucination, patterns that don't stop, right? So, and these were not ideas, they were the real hallucinations. Most people would try to escape that, but she doesn't. She starts painting them, not to create beautiful something like the art, but to survive it. So maybe style is not being different, niche, being a niche, don't being a different. Maybe it's about repeating same long enough until it becomes you. Think about it, like the repetition is never neutral. It at some point it starts to feel uncomfortable, like you are doing the same stuff, like it's almost obsessive, but at the same time it pulls you in, as Nietzsche talks about the eternal return, living the same life and again. Can you endure repetition? In Buddhism, repetition becomes very strong, like the meditation, same breath, same movement as yoga, until the self starts to dissolve. In Greek myth, Sisyphus pushed the same stone at the same hill forever, and yet Albert Camus says we must imagine Sisyphus happy. In Groundhog Day, a man lives the same day again and again until the repetition transforms him. It's in our brain, so we repeat. It's not boredom, it's not boring. It can be depth or madness, as a kusama. So Kusama moved to America, New York, from the Japan, and at some point the patterns don't stay on the canvas anymore. They go to walls, objects, to people. She paints bodies, streets, horses. She organizes very big performances, covers naked people with dots. In the birth of tragedy, art comes from chaos as well, not comfort. And Carl Jung also says that, like, what you don't face inside yourself returns as something that controls you. So what we call creativity, might not always be freedom. Sometimes it's pressure. And Kusama herself says that before creating, something takes over her body and like obsession, something she cannot fully explain. She became famous. She even started work with really very good brands in the New York. Her dots go everywhere in the world. People admire it, call it genius. At some point, her world moves into fashion. She collaborates really very good brands in the New York, and so the same thing that once lived inside her mind now lives on the buildings, on the art, on the clothes, on the streets. At the same time, at that time, she chooses to live in the psychiatric hospital, like the mental hospital in Japan, for already 40 years. I think she's now 93. Think about that, like a woman whose work with fills museums, goes back every day to psychiatric hospital, and still she keeps creating, repeating, continuing. So maybe repetition is not about beauty. And the question is, could be like that: what is inside you that keep repeating without even noticing? What's in your life, something that you are keeping repeating them? There could be different things. Like for me, yoga, movement, gym, weightlifting. I'm doing this every single day, and I really love move my body. Reading a book, journaling, doing any healing stuff, like not being obsessive about that, like the spirituality, but I'm repeating this. Even I don't see any results, I do them. But it's what actually our brain also shows us, that it's really very important to repeat stuff. We are always addicted to dopamine. We want to see really very fast results, but it's impossible. Fast results is only in the social media, like the before after photos. Yeah, now before after photos could take 5 years, it could take 1 year, 6 months, 10 years. You know, so it's a big, it's really good consistency, discipline, and repetition that we need to devote ourselves and dedicate for that reason, for that aim, even we don't have any motivation. um, yeah, so this question for you: what are you repeat this last year, and is there something that you notice while you repeat or not?